In topic 1, we will be seeing what is PHP. In topic 2, we will see the history of this language, when it was invented, by whom it was invented, and over a period of time how it evolved. In topic 3, we will see what PHP language actually does. In topic 4, we will be seeing why we should be using PHP instead of any other language. And in topic 5, we will be seeing the features of PHP. Alright? So in features, I'll be explaining all the nitty-gritty details of PHP and why it stands out among its competitors. Let's move ahead. So what is PHP? The term PHP is an acronym or abbreviation. Alright? It stands for PHP Hypertext Preprocessor Language. Now, before starting with all other features that I am going to mention over here, I would like to tell you one thing, that one who is learning PHP should have a basic understanding of HTML. Alright, so even if you guys don't have that kind of an understanding or advanced understanding, no issues guys, I will be there to help you throughout the course, and I am sure that I will be able to convey the knowledge very easily to you. So let's move ahead. PHP, as I said, is an acronym and it stands for Hypertext Preprocessor. PHP is a very popular language and it is mostly used to write the backend code for web apps or mobile apps also. By backend code, what do I mean? We write the business logic or any other logic that we want to implement. PHP is an open source language. Okay, so by open source, it means that it is totally free to use, and we can also go ahead and see the PHP code and modify it if we want to. So there won't be any restrictions to do that. PHP is a very old language, I know that. And you also must be thinking, so why should you be learning PHP in 2023? But no guys, PHP is a very popular language, and till date it is very heavily used by large tech companies. Why I am saying this? Because many large technology companies like Facebook, Wikipedia, Tumblr, Slack, MailChimp, etc. and also CMS systems. CMS system stands for Content Management Systems. They use it heavily. You must have heard about WordPress, which is one of the largest blogging and website creating platforms, where even the people don't like to code can create large websites very easily. Also, other CMS systems like Drupal, Shopify and many more uses PHP. Now that we have a brief overview about this language, let me take you through the history of this language. Now let us learn about the history of PHP language. So PHP's implementation was proposed and it was also planned by Rasmus Lefort to launch it in 1995. The proposal was done in 1994. So, language released in the early years of 1995. Mostly all the fundamental features were already included in the early versions of PHP. But there were some issues in the language. So, what happened is that over a period of time, other developers came into the picture and started developing it over a period of time, just because the language was growing popularity. Alright, so I have shared an infographic with you where you can see all the different versions of PHP that has come up over the period of so many years. So in 1995, 1.0 came out. In 1997, 2.0 came out. 3.0 was released in 1999, 4.0 was released in 2000, 5.0 was released in 2005, 6.0 was released in 2010, 7.0 came out during the period of 2016 and 17, and 8.2, that is the latest version, came out recently in the year 2022. So special mentions would be for the versions 5.0 and 6.0. Why? Because in these versions major changes were done and OOPS support was also increased. So many major changes came out in 6, you can understand like that. Now let's move forward. So what PHP does? It can be used to produce dynamic web pages. By this, what I mean to say is that user not only reads the website but can also interact with it, like uploading of files, opening and closing of files, reading, writing from the backend part. It can also capture data and store it to a database from the front end, like capturing the data from the forms and sending it to the backend, and it is going inside some database. PHP can also be used to add, delete and manipulate data on different kinds of database, be it relational or non-relational. So before we go ahead and see some examples of relational and non-relational database, let me give you an overview for them. Relational databases store data in form of tables, whereas non-relational databases doesn't store data in form of tables, it does just the opposite. So some examples of relational databases are MySQL, Microsoft SQL Server, Postgres, MariaDB, and many more are there. In non-relational databases, some examples would be MongoDB, Apache Cassandra, Redis, and Couchbase. You also use it to do user authentication, encryption of data. PHP is very secure language, and for encryption and decryption, it can be used. By encryption, I mean to say that plain text, that is unencrypted data, is converted to ciphertext, that is encrypted data, and this encrypted data cannot be understood by normal human beings. You can also do user authentication in the backend code of your apps. PHP also allows you to create and manage cookies. What is a cookie? Cookie is a small file with a maximum size of 4 KB. It is used to store information such as username, to personalize the page when the user visits the website. So what is a personalized page? You must have seen pages like profile page on Instagram or profile page on Facebook. So those are personal pages. So whenever you are logging in, logging out, you are exchanging your information with the site. Now let's move ahead to the next topic. Here we will see what are the features of PHP. So in this slide I have shared with you an infographic where you can see what all features are there. So as I already said, guys, the language is very fast, so it is highly efficient. It is also open source and it is also platform independent. It supports multiple databases and it also has a large community. So while learning PHP, you won't be facing any issues, right? You can go anywhere online and find documentation. Suppose you want to use learning about loops or learning about any conditional statements and you're facing some issues, you can go online, you can check some documentation, and that will also help your journey as you go ahead in this coding field. Alright, this is a very good practice. PHP is also very secure and it is a loosely typed language. By loosely typed language, what do I mean? I mean to say that we don't have to declare any data types while creating any variables. So we can create any type of variable like a integer variable, floating point variable, a string type variable, and we don't have to mention it while declaring the variables. PHP is very smart enough to just infer that. You can also connect with many types of databases, and PHP is also a very old language. So what does this help you with is that you will get documentation for PHP and database connection anywhere. Alright, now let's move ahead and I'll walk you through in detail with each of these features so that you can understand properly. Starting with the first point, and I'll move ahead. PHP is a very fast, robust and a dynamically typed language. You can write and maintain large applications very easily using this language. It is an open source, as I already mentioned in the earlier slides. If you know any other programming language, you will be learning PHP very easily. There won't be any issue. You can also embed this PHP easily into your HTML files. So by this what I mean is that PHP and HTML are very much interrelated. Okay, so you can create an .html file and write PHP code inside of it. Also, you can create a .php file and write HTML code inside of it. Both will run and both will be totally okay. You can embed this PHP easily in your HTML files, as I already said. You can also write PHP code on Linux, Windows, Mac. This justifies that it is platform independent. You can get a lot of control in PHP while writing your code. This means while you write your code, you can use predefined libraries that are already written by someone else. So suppose you want to use package, and by using that package you want to create a feature, you can download a library from the website or from online, and then you can use it in your app. So this will make our life very easy. You can also use any type of database, be it relational or non-relational, in PHP. And as it is a very old language, you get a lot of database support to do it. Security is also not a concern, and it is taken care of in the newer versions of the language. It is loosely typed. As I said, we don't have to mention any data type while declaring the variables. PHP language also has a huge community, and this will allow you to get a lot of help from online. So before we start with hands-on coding, guys, I would definitely request you, like when we start with coding, I will request you to go and read documentations, make a habit of reading documentations, and this will help you in your coding journey. Thank you guys. Move ahead and we will be meeting soon in module 2 part. Thanks.